All right, we are back, everybody. Let me lift that a little bit so it's not so. Yeah, there we go. How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining me. Pete, first one in the chat, what's going on? I am just now getting out here to the barn, and first of all, quick round of applause for my wife. She delivered my phone so that we have this angle right here. We were about to just have the top down only angle because every time I use the Osmo Pocket 3, it disconnects within like 10 minutes. So we were going to be without the main camera, but Molly came running out to the barn because my Find My sound was ringing in the house, and I was looking for it out here. So she saved the day, and yeah, running just a couple minutes behind. Appreciate everybody being here. What's going on? Hey, Matt, just finished shoveling the snow we weren't supposed to get. Yeah, we got hit pretty hard yesterday and this morning. So kids, I'm pretty sure the kids are tomorrow is already canceled. We were on a level 3. Yep, getting the school alerts now. We were on a level 3 snow emergency all yesterday and this morning once the snow really hit. So earlier today, I don't know if it's still it's brutal out there, but at least this morning with the wind chill, it was -11 or felt like -10, -11 with the wind and everything. So Nora and Elliot both went outside for a little bit today. I did not because I'm already cold enough. I think we're sitting close to 50 degrees out here. We're almost up to 50. We're not fully insulated here, so you know it's an uphill battle with the heat. What was that notification? Continuity camera. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna turn my MacBook speakers down. Keep it there. The Northeast don't want it. Oh, I'm sure it's coming. It's brutal right now. How do, Matt? My dad used to always say that. How do? Doing well. Happy Sunday. We this week flew by. Last week when we left off, we were looking at Mary Ellen Mark, The Book of Everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that, and also switch out of my muck boots that I forgot I still had on. Those are cold as ice, and put on my New Balance, my Andrew Reynolds New Balance. It's been really cold the last week. Yeah, we're in the thick of it now. Okay. Let's see. All right. How about that El Toro tray flip? Man, what a week for skateboarding, huh? A lot of stuff. A lot of footage, a lot of parts within the last week or two. It's that time of year, and yeah, Jocelyn's tray flip was crazy. I remember when Dave Bashinsky kickflipped it, and that was just insane. Never thought we'd see the day. Ralph, what's going on? Get this set up in here. We're going to take a look at book 2 of Mary Ellen Mark, The Book of Everything. Let me slide this over. Wecking Ball calling it AI. Weck had his own People's Choice Awards for the true champion, and that went to T.J. Rogers. And honestly, I can't disagree with that. That would be my pick, I think. Big fan of everything T.J. Rogers has done. Bring that down just a little bit. All right, how's that looking? Let's see. The lighting might need to be adjusted just a little bit to eliminate reflections. I think we're good, though. Any thoughts on Martin Parr's passing last week? Yes, we actually discussed and looked at his work last week. We took a look at The Nonconformist. That's my one and only Martin Parr book. But if you'd like to see that one, you can catch the replay of last week's stream. Yeah, very sad. Very sad. Always appreciated his work and just his mind and his thoughts on photography. Hi, Matt Day. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're just now joining us, we're picking up where we left off last week with Mary Ellen Mark, The Book of Everything. Got some notes from her 1981 journals in here, which is cool. Photographing Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity through most of this here that we've been looking at. What I love about Martin Parr is he used a Canon with a zoom lens, not like all the Fuji/Leica fanboys, myself included, who think the camera makes them a street/documentary photographer. Yeah, without a doubt. I can appreciate that when that's not their whole identity, you know? I've always talked about one of my favorite things from Elliot Erwitt was at a Leica event, and they're asking each photographer the same thing, like, why use a Leica? And so many of the people that, you know, were there giving their best, you know, it's an extension of my eye, it's a decisive moment device, and yada, yada, yada. Like, all of just the usual, you've heard it said by a million different people a million different times. And, it gets to Elliot Erwitt, and he was just like, why not? It's a good camera. And that was it. Yeah, I appreciate that kind of stuff. Mary used primes, though. Yes, that is true. But that's the thing, yeah, to everyone, to each their own. Yeah, I appreciate when people don't turn their nose up at a particular camera just because it's not going to look as cool when they're photographed using it, you know? Like, I mean, I'd say that's probably, you know, a factor in any, whether it be film cameras or Leica cameras, Fuji cameras. You know, to some people, that's the appeal. It's like, this is just going to look sick I'm gonna look cool as hell holding this camera. That's that's some people's mindset going in. Looked at a lot of these last week as well when we were looking at Streetwise, the actual book. But obviously, that was a really, really big part of her work, so obviously it's going to be in here as well. Working with medium format. I'll read this little excerpt here. This is from a 2004 conversation. It says, I started working with a large format camera in the 80s, medium format. Oh, larger format, sorry. I started working with a larger format camera in the 80s, medium format. I thought I wanted to change. I wanted to be re-challenged. I love the Hasselblad. It's a great camera, and it's different to work with it. It's a larger negative, it has more information, and because it's a larger negative, you have to account for more space on that negative. It has less depth of field. It's just a whole other way of thinking about information. When I go out alone on the street, it's much easier for me to use 35mm. It's lighter, it's smaller, it's less complicated, it's faster. This is slower, especially if you're lighting it. It calls for people helping you to do that because it's too much stuff to hold. So a little bit of her talking about working with medium format here. In a conversation here from 2018, her photographer's assistant, Grant Dellon, says, whenever we were between jobs, Mary would fancy a trip to Coney Island. Pure theater was how she described it to me. We'd take a minimal kit. She'd like to go on the subway. We always got off at Stillwell Avenue and walked the boardwalk and sand to Brighton Beach and finished by eating at one of the Russian places there. Sometimes if she wasn't seeing many pictures, the walk would take 40 minutes. On better days, it would take 6 hours. I love the black borders around the photos. Yeah, a lot of her work, very, very much on like showing the entire frame, no cropping, seeing the edge of the negative. Super, super common in a lot of her work, like the way it's published. I mean, yeah, showcase the fact that she wasn't cropping, getting it right in camera. Absolutely. That's the thing that's always sort of a topic and debate amongst photographers is like, you know, whether you should or shouldn't crop. I always appreciate when I do see the frame border, like being able to clearly see that there was no crop. As much as I do appreciate that, I do crop at times. You know what I mean? I don't have anything against it if I do it or if other photographers do it, but I used to print like this in the darkroom all the time just because I appreciate that kind of thing as well, so I totally get it. I need to have my Hasselblad service so badly. Yeah, that's, I don't know what that would cost, what the usual going rate is these days to get them serviced, but man, all of the prices have just changed so much. I feel like it's been a long time since I've had an accurate gauge on like where things were price wise. You know what I mean? Wow. There's a certain photographer who yells on his channel that you should never crop your photos. I'm sure there are. That's, you know, there are purists out there and they're just better than me. You know? That's it. Wild. Father and son at the Aryan Nations Congress. Hayden Lake, Idaho, 1986. Fro doesn't know everything. Man. Uh I won't go there. Not cropping and not editing your photos will get you banished. Oh, your film photos. Oh my gosh, the editing film photos debate that people, God, I swear it's got to be just rage bait at this point. The arguments I see. I can't use most social media cuz it's just so full of that kind of stuff, that kind of conversation. Pissing contests about who's the realist. No problem with cropping, but getting it right in camera shows your skills. Sometimes getting the shot is more important, though. For sure. That's 100% it. It's like if I think the photo is better served being cropped, then I'll crop. But only if I really think like it's going to make a difference. You know what I mean? I don't just crop for the sake of cropping, but if it would make a substantial difference, then it would be worth it, you know? And like you said, getting it in camera, it does show that skill. And I agree. I can appreciate it. I know other photographers can appreciate it. But I think for me, I have to think about like, is that the goal of the photo, to impress myself or other photographers? Or is it about something more than that? You know what I mean? And like, legitimate question. That's something that you should ask yourself. Like, why am I sharing this photo? Why would I want to share this photo? You know, it's thinking about like who you're really sharing it for. Obviously, if you just share it online, you're sharing it for whoever happens to see it. But I feel like there's likely, maybe you wouldn't call it a target audience, but you know, I think there's some sort of like a feeling of a person or people in general that you think might relate to the work. Does that make sense? When I'm shooting mountain biking, I have no choice but to crop to get in closer. Oh, for sure. I bet the same people who yell about editing film photos will upload selfies with every filter known to man. For sure. Man, people are loving the AI crap on Facebook. All of the, like, which that's really all my Facebook is. It's local, you know, like community based communication. And so, you know, it's teachers that I had in school, my friends' parents, that kind of stuff. They're loving the, oh, look what AI made me look like. And it's like, what are we doing? It's not just the kids, you know. It's not the next generation when it comes to like just the way that's being shoved down our throats. I don't know. I would love to not have to crop, but I have to be humble. I can't be above it. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, are you that good that you're above every legendary photographer that has cropped a photo before, you know? Like, is that, maybe, if you say so, go for it, dude. but yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Was she using flash? If she was, it's super subtle. I like it. So a lot of the stuff medium format there was, and probably some with 35 as well. But yeah, it was common to see some of her work with Flash, um, with with the medium format like this right here. Definitely a Flash. You can see that shadow being cast right there into the chin. This one uh, doesn't necessarily look like it because you're not seeing, like, there's a lot of dark shadows under here, under the handles there that would probably be illuminated, but this one here, it's great. And that one as well. Wow. Love this one. I saw a car dealership using the AI Bigfoot for their ad. Oh, dude, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's it's insane. Um, and the amount of videos that, like, people are sharing that they don't it's clearly AI, and they're watching it and they're just like, unbelievable craftsmanship. You know, there's like a time lapse of someone building this insane cabin with, like, you know, an aquarium in the floor and shit, and you could watch the time lapse. It was like restoring some old building, turning it into this cabin, and you just see shit like happening seemingly in a matter of time lapse time, maybe 20 seconds, and what would take months of work is done where the sun doesn't go down at all in the time lapse. Just like basic stuff that you can tell, oh, well, this just doesn't make sense. This doesn't look real. And people are just soaking it up in the comments like, yup, can't get that kind of craftsmanship these days. It's like, yeah, no shit, it doesn't exist. If the photo is posed or with a static object, you'll have more time to compose. So getting it right in camera is the goal, but with run and gun, I allow myself to crop. For sure. Well said. Like I said, at the end of the day, what matters is the end result and the photo. So, yeah, if you have all the time in the world to compose, for sure, take that time and be diligent and make the decision before you take the photo. But yeah, like, I always go back to thinking, like, on the job, wedding photography, band photography, that kind of stuff. It's like you're trying to capture everything, and a lot of it is really quick, fleeting kind of stuff. You know, you don't have the time to sit and consider and go back and forth. This one here and the following pages from Portsmouth, Ohio, 1989. So she was there just the year before I was born in Portsmouth. Sometimes I crop because I love low resolution photos. For me, that gives them a lot of personality and a 2000s handy cam look. That's an interesting approach that I don't think I've ever heard anybody say. Like, they crop for that specific aesthetic, and I fully back it. Like, do whatever you want to do to get the look you want, you know, except use AI. that's where I draw the line. Like, really crude Photoshop stuff and, like, removing things, unless it's literally like dust or, you know, things like that. I don't like to remove things, but, like, adjusting my exposure and dodging and burning the same way I would in the darkroom, that kind of stuff, all for it. And you could do that same thing. It wouldn't give you the the pixelated 2000s look, but if you wanted to crop in the darkroom to really get that, like, lower definition, higher amount of grain, you could do that for that effect. You know, it's never, in my opinion, you don't need to follow the rules for everything. Just understand how those things work and use it accordingly, I guess. I sometimes crop my Fuji X-T4 files to look like X-Pan. Too bad you get the X-Pan frame lines only with certain cameras. Yeah, they man, they could, if they made, here's the thing. If you're gonna go wacky and do the half frame toy camera thing they went with, can't imagine that was a major hit. I've never held one. I'm sure people do enjoy it. That seemed to be a bit of a I don't know, bit of a miss for a lot of people, at least in the circles that I'm in and conversations that I'm in. If someone wants to swing for the fences and make a higher end camera, make something in the GFX line, but focus on a panoramic sensor. Obviously, the GFX line, you can just crop that larger sensor. But, like, if you're going to go all the way, make something different. Do something different. Make one that is focused on just a panoramic kind of sensor. Is that, I have no idea how possible it is to make a sensor, you know, just stretched out wider that way. I have no idea. Maybe it would change things with the in-body image stabilization or whatever. Like, there's, I don't know enough about it to say, yeah, it's just as simple. But I think we need to see them swing for the fences on something that would be more appealing to the photographer and not just the like the photography enthusiast, not just a hobbyist or like general consumer. Does that make sense? All right. That is book 2 from the Book of Everything. Grab a drink here. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Be right back. All right. Eventually, they got the recognition they deserved. There we go. We're on to book 3. We're going to go ahead and run it back. Oh, uh-oh. Hold on. Told you we were coming in hot. Forgot to plug my MacBook in. Whew. We're at 1%. Let me dim my screen here. Try and okay, now it says 2%. That was close. Stream almost came to a halt right there. Fix this. All right. Here we go. But if recognition is what one is looking for, we got to look elsewhere, for sure. Is that a Texas Leica on her? I believe so. It sure looks like it. It definitely looks like it. Just that window right there. Can't really see much right there. I couldn't tell. I was going to check and see if it was one of the Mamiya, like a Mamiya 6. But, what is this? Oh. But, can't really tell. See if we can see it in any of these photos. 1990s. So we've got a 4x5 camera right here. Classic photo. I once had this at a professional gig where I was responsible for the stream, discovered the 1% battery just in time, nearly had a heart attack. It has, I think it happened to me within the first couple of months I was streaming. I can't remember what happened though. It was like either the charger was inside. I don't remember what happened, but that was the end of the stream. But I can't remember why we lost lost power or why I didn't have it with me. How do you feel about when folks share a digital image or even a film image that is clearly cropped, but they add back in a black border to pass as or mimic the look of an uncropped film border scan? That I think is whack, if I'm being totally honest. Don't do that. If you want my honest opinion, I wouldn't do that. 'Cause that just, you know, if it's real, share it, but don't, you know, don't fake it and try to pass it off, 'cause that kind of defeats the whole purpose. You know what I mean? 'Cause that, in my opinion, is like the only reason you would include the border should be for that sort of thing. Now, I guess talk about different purposes, because if you look at every ad these days for like a clothing ad or shoes or really whatever, any kind of bullshit people are trying to sell, the ad has this like contact sheet style look to it where it's you know, an entire roll as if photos were all shot on film, and then they add in some like fake little, you know, a few digit numbers or letters that they add to like make it look like a film negative. And that kind of thing, that kind of aesthetic of like contact sheets, the marking up photos with a red grease pencil, or like that kind of stuff is just in right now with the whole 90s, early 2000s trend. You know what I mean? With everything being in. So it's like you're going to see it, that kind of stuff all of the time in advertisement and marketing and stuff like that. But if we're talking just like personal work, you know, you're just sharing work for yourself and for people who see it. It's like, I think the only reason you ever would share the entire roll or in a contact sheet or the film borders around that individual photo is simply for those who know. You know what I mean? Like it's that isn't going to, the everyday person isn't going to think about that, and they might be able to see that that's the edge of the frame, but to the everyday person, are they going to think about that context of like, wow, they got that composition in camera, they didn't crop at all? Like that's something only photographers are thinking about. So you're kind of sharing for those other photographers. So if you add a fake one in, that's just fully faking it for the wrong reasons, I guess. Does that make sense? On that topic, Magnum Contact Sheets is a great book that really shows the skill and method of certain famous photographers, for sure. I think we've looked at that one on stream before. I know I made a video on the book maybe a year or so ago, because I know I filmed it out here in the barn, so it had to have been within the last year. But yeah, that's a great one. I hate the ones that make their digital photos look like film. Someone comments, how do you get that look? I just want to scream, shoot film. Yeah, for sure. That's, which I think I kind of go back and forth on, I guess just in certain scenarios. Like for me, I love being able to get a film-ish look digitally when I am shooting digital, but yeah, it's like if the look is really what you're going for, and that trumps the convenience, like that's the only way you're gonna get it really, really, really looking like that. Is it just has to be shot with that on that, you know? Wow. A leprosy patient with her nurse, National Hansen's Disease Center in Carville, Louisiana, 1990. Sometime, if the lighting is really difficult, a light filmish look or curve can do a lot for a photo. Oh, for sure. And in wedding photography, the lighting not being ideal was like, at least around here. You know what I mean? Like wedding photographers in Southern California, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here. I'm just like a general thing of like there's a different industry to wedding photography that I've never been in, where it's like these destination weddings and it's this like massive production and budget, you know, from the family or whoever is paying for the ceremonies. Like it's much more like regular everyday people kind of demographics, and so a lot of old churches, you know, churches that don't have good lighting. The fellowship hall is where the reception is, and you've got the dingy overhead fluorescents. Those are turned off, and then you've got some like, you know, just like the generic look of like the you know, reception lighting, twinkle lights, and DJ lighting that is all over the place. Like, you got to find ways to polish that up in photos. You know what I mean? I'm not stepping out to like a big mountain view at some resort where there's, you know, it's just a different, it's a different working environment. I've seen enough, like, yeah, that's all. Sometimes getting the picture is part of the story. Sometimes the picture speaks for itself. For sure. And I think that's what I appreciate about the reality of that kind of stuff. Um, you know, it's not all just like, let me show you how this looks like it was, you know, a shoot for a magazine. Let me show you what real life looks like. Not fully polished, you know? Yeah, weddings is exactly one use case for this method for me. For sure. Totally with you on that. And that's also like kind of a fun part, you know, is like you want to show it in realistic ways. You want to portray reality, obviously, but like showing it truthfully, but in a way that people aren't just seeing naturally. You know, that way with their eyes. I think that's the thing. Man, fuck these people. Yeah. Just say that. Sorry if you got young ears in the room. If there are any parents here, I get it. I apologize. Didn't think about that. Yeah, there's people like that today still. Blows my mind. What were we talking about? Just blanked now. Jeff Bridges in 91. Shout out to Jeff Bridges on working on bringing the Widelux back. Are we excited about that? It's pretty rad. I know at one point my good friend Matt Price was at least like in communication. I'm hoping he gets some sort of like access to try it out early, because all these years I have used one Widelux, and it was Matt's. He let me borrow it probably 10 years ago. And yeah, I've just always loved loved his work with it, so I'd love to see him get to check it out. He's done a lot for the image of the Y Deluxe, and his, you know, he's done his part on telling people how good that camera is. All right. Here at the circus in India, 1992. The baby beauty pageant winner. Yeah. I love this. In 2004, she says, I did a whole series of pictures in the 90s of baby beauty contests. It was just before John Benet Ramsey. I thought it was amazing, so American, how strange America is, how funny and sad. Straight up, man. What a bizarre world. That's such a good Edward on Halloween. I love all the Halloween photos. Matt, maybe you could share some recent work. Okay. Let me think here. Gosh, recent work. The most recent stuff, in all honesty, has been like stuff worth sharing. Things that I would like to share. Chill YouTube. Would probably just be the paper mill project. Like, I really haven't shot much for myself outside of that project, and even just like daily life kind of stuff. Like, I've shot a little bit. I haven't shot a ton over the last couple of months though, outside of work and yeah, just some small like daily life, just some things I've seen. You know what I mean? I don't have anything on like exported or ready to share on this stream, but maybe we can do that next week. I can put something together, kind of flick through some photos. We can talk about them, ask questions. I can talk about, I guess if it's digital, I could talk about any editing or anything like that. Cropping, since we've been talking about that, I can talk about photos that were or weren't cropped and maybe why. Yeah, maybe that would make more sense, is if we set it up to where I'm kind of just streaming from Lightroom, or just, you know, kind of sharing, updating, or editing in real time. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll do something like that. Oh yeah, we've talked about that before. Matt says, I know it's been brought up in the past, but it'd be cool to do a critique where people could submit photos for general discussion and feedback. Tell you what, I will put out a little thing on, or well, shoot, next Sunday is the 21st. Next Sunday we're going to be in Zanesville for Christmas with Molly's family. So there won't be a stream next week, meaning that'll put us at what, the 28th? So we will get a stream in on the 28th before, and if possible, if there's another day, maybe we'll be able to make it up. It really all depends. I've got multiple videos that I'm working on at the moment, and we've got one more week of school, if there is school this week, with the amount of snow and the temperatures we've got right now. Um, we're getting close to Christmas break for the kids. So, yeah. I'm just now I'm right now I'm in my head trying to plan out when I'm going to do certain videos and filming, and also working at the shop. But maybe for the 28th stream, I will like post something online on like the community tab here on YouTube to remind people as well. But if you're watching right now, or if you're watching the replay and you would like to submit any work, send it to my email, matt@mattdayphoto.com. Let me put that in the chat real quick. Try to keep, or try to just send, a handful of photos. matt@mattdayphoto.com. Send me a handful of photos, just a few, if you've got something like that, or individual photos. If you just say, like, what are your thoughts on this one? We can look at it together as a group. We can get the group's feedback and thoughts, any questions. Yeah, go ahead and send it in. And between now and the next stream, I'll gather anything that's sent in, and we'll plan on doing that. Good idea. Was that Patrick Swayze in the dress? It sure was. It sure was. I almost wish this one wasn't printed full spread because of the bleed, like losing some of that, where this is really what you want to see. Their faces, their expressions, like that's too good to be buried in this gutter here. Ugh. Cynthia Galves at the Children's Hospital, Los Angeles, 1996. Tell you what, man, the medical workers, especially working with kids, I don't think I could do it. It's just gut-wrenching. YouTube, relax. I flipped by it real quick. Caught it pretty quick. Had to check this one here. Has anyone watched The Chair Company? Got nervous YouTube was going to flag this one. If you've seen The Chair Company, maybe you'll get that. Tell you what, just from touching the pages of this book that's been out here in the barn, my fingers are getting numb right now. Thought we skipped one. I'm watching this on my MacBook for a change, and this thing is getting hot. I'll trade you. Man, I wish. I've got a small heater underneath the desk here on my feet as well, and it's not really making a dent. Freezing. Twinsburg, Ohio. Shout out, representing Ohio well. These two beauties. Probably Probably Virginia Slims, I'm guessing. It's probably what what these two young ladies are smoking. Whew. I also just found out the MacBook reached the age where it won't take the newest Mac OS. Oh, that's a bummer. Both of these photos are so good. On the set of Sleepy Hollow here, Christina Ricci, however it's pronounced. Someone was asking about the flash. You can see her there in that photo. She's got a flash directly on camera. Can't really... Oh yeah, it's like on a bracket mounted up above the camera. I think above maybe a Hasselblad. You can't really see the camera in that one. Polaroid 20 by 24. This one right here, Liza Minnelli, 2001. All photographing twins on the 20 by 24 Polaroid camera. Does Mary have a book of just her on-set photography? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. There might be something out there that has just that. I have the Book of Everything, Streetwise Revisited, and one of those, I think Aperture put it out. Yeah, Mary Ellen Mark on the Portrait and the Moment. Sort of like an essay book of her talking about photographing people and portraits. Oh, okay. Someone says, yes, she does. Very good. Yeah, I love all of the twins photos that she did, especially on the 20 by 24 Polaroid. That's such a cool look. Nate, what's up? Says, sorry I'm late. What have I missed? We have just been chilling. In my case, literally freezing out here in the barn. And we're taking a look at book number 3 from the Book of Everything by Mary Ellen Mark. Scene behind the scene. Right on. Good looking out. Thank you for sharing that. Mary Ellen Mark, scene, S-E-E-N, behind the scene, like film scene. So, look for that one. I might look for that one myself. makes me want to get back to black and white. As much as I've been enjoying color and even working digitally, the more we've been looking at her work last week and this week now, yeah, it definitely makes me just want to grab my M6 and call it a day and just stick to that for a while. Which maybe I will. I don't know. Thing is that I always tell myself, at least, is like, you barely have enough time to shoot and go out and take photos. How am I gonna do it all and do it on film and develop and scan it myself and photograph at the same rate? But these days, at least the last month or so, the amount of photos that I've taken, I wouldn't necessarily be putting myself in a backlog situation like I used to, you know? So, I think I just talked myself into it. So, gonna have to load the M6 up. Or, well, no, it's probably still... I probably haven't finished the most recent roll in there. It's probably been in there for a month or two, to be honest. Again, more with the black and white instant film. And another one of those things where it's like, does that add anything to the photo, to what's going on in between the frame? No, but it looks cool. And it's a physical, real thing that exists. That's not created, in post. That wasn't a border that was added. And, kind of like the way I like to scan instant film, you can see, like, it's a photograph of the actual physical image. You can see it physically on white here with the drop shadows below the print. Love that kind of stuff. These are amazing photos. Yes, Mary Ellen Mark was, without a doubt, one of the greatest. Devon Scan live stream. That would be fun. We've talked about that before. I had hoped to have more of a finished section out here in the barn by now, but that just didn't happen this year. It's like many home projects. It's like, well, when we when we can get to it, that will get done. But I would love to be able to get running water out here for doing the developing live streams. But at the very least, we could scan out here, because this is where I do all of my scanning. I did develop out here in the fall, but yeah, that was when I could just comfortably develop with the temperature in here. Right now, it's way, way too cold out here to be developing anyway, even if I did have the water running, because I don't have all of the insulation fully finished. Would be cool to see your workflow with Negative Lab Pro. I'm still using the Epson software for import. Yeah, we could go over that for sure. I'm not terribly organized when it comes to my digital film scans. At least the raw scans before I convert them, because I scan everything digitally, just digitizing with the camera. So there's the raw files, and then there's the conversions through Negative Lab Pro that then get exported. And honestly, raw scans and the exports, I really haven't been great about organizing them. That's part of one of the videos that I'm working on right now, is kind of diving into my digital archive. We've done a lot of archives videos where I'm going through old photos or archiving film, scanning old film, that kind of stuff. But digging through tons and tons of hard drives is something I've been putting off for way too long. So I've been working on that, and yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. Barn has been a great location so far. Can't imagine once it's done. It's it's come a long way. There's still plenty to be done, but I love that I have a little spot that I can, you know, this is just where I know I'm gonna be, moving forward. So it's like knowing that I've got the time to finish building this space out into what I want it to be, and also not being married to a specific layout or setup right now. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of been nice over the last year using this space in different ways, rearranging furniture like I did just again a couple nights ago, like um just getting a different feel for how I want to use the area for different tasks, I guess. Like um there's a lot of stuff I want to do in here, so it's kind of nice that I'm testing it out for different things in the future. You should get a pellet stove. That is something that I've looked into. I've thought about that. However, for the summer, for the air, I think I'm going to be doing a mini split. Hopefully 2026 is the year that I finally put the mini split in. So that way my heat and my air would be taken care of and I don't have to have two different units. But my neighbor has a pellet stove in his barn, and it's great. Like every time I go over there, it definitely does a good job of knocking that chill off. And he sets it up like he can just turn it on from his phone with an app to warm his barn up before he goes out there, which is pretty sick. Yes, I love seeing the archives. I'm glad to hear that. It'll be fun. There's stuff from as far back as I was disciplined in backing things up. So about 2010. I've got a little bit of 2009, some 2010 and on, but 2007, I think, was when I got my first, well, I guess technically all of the like point and shoot digital photos that I shot early on. I don't have backups of those. And my photos from like my Nikon D60 and D90, I only have like literally just a few photos that were exported and saved somewhere. Back then, I didn't know how to properly take care of my digital files and backing them up. And so when a hard drive crashed, I lost everything I had at that point, which is a major, major bummer. But it is funny to look at work that's, 15 years old at this point and, I don't know, see what stuff holds up, and kind of looking at the work and see how does it age over time. It'll be a humbling video. I'm excited. In a few years, you can drop a book called Barn Finds. Tell you what, I've found some pretty rad stuff from my dad's here recently as I've been going through things. You'll probably see in a video as well. But gosh, there's so much stuff. Physical photos, prints, albums, boxes of loose prints. It's crazy. That is the third and final book in the Book of Everything. This is, yeah, literally everything. So if you missed last week's stream and you want to see the first book as well as Streetwise Revisited, we took a look at that one there. If you enjoyed Mary Ellen Mark's work, definitely check those out, or just anything you can find on Mary Ellen Mark. Her books, YouTube videos, one of the greatest to ever do it. So hope you all enjoyed that. Hey, what about your photo projects? Are there any new ones? Not really. Part of what we've been talking about now with the digital archive, going through all the old hard drives. Here are some of them right here. Not all of them, but here's a handful. Most of these are either 4 or 5 terabyte hard drives, and then I have another set just like this of all of the duplicates of each drive. It's a lot, and so part of that idea, like one of the reasons I've been wanting to kind of go through everything, is like I don't know what is on some of those drives, or I didn't know. Like I've started the process and I've already found stuff that I didn't know I still had, photos that I forgot I shot, as well as photos that I didn't really look at. I never shared them. I never exported them. You know what I mean? There are photos that have just kind of been sitting around, and having a consistent outlet of a place to share work that isn't just Instagram is something I've wanted to do for a while. And um, some of that being work that can be shared digitally through videos, through my website, newsletters, things like that that I can share more like directly with you guys, my people, rather than just like throwing stuff out into the void on YouTube or on Instagram or apps like that, you know? Um, just kind of finding more like intentional places to put the work physically and digitally. So, recurring zines, like having a place where I can just work that I want to share simply for that reason and that reason only, giving some of those photos a place to live. So that's been the process, or part of the process on that. So photographing new things outside of the paper mill, there really hasn't been anything that I've been working on. I have more I have more stuff that I haven't done anything with, that I'm almost like, right now I'm not interested in photographing anything new, which is a weird feeling. The paper mill project happened suddenly and unexpectedly. We didn't know it was going to close until everyone found out it was going to close. So I want to get that, which, a quick update here, I'm going to share more in a video, but we're going to be pushing the publication and release window back closer to like early, like right at the beginning of spring, March or April. That way, that's going to give us more time to prepare something proper here locally, like a local show, as well as making sure we can get everything printed. We wanted to get something done before the holidays, but myself and everyone included, it was just going to be way too much of a rush, and I don't want to half-ass it just to get it done and out there. So that's going to be pushed back a few months, which is helpful. But outside of that, before photographing new things, there's a lot of old work that I just mentioned. I'd like to just share some stuff in like a zine, something smaller, kind of like the Paper Mill Project as well. The instant film, like almost 20 years of instant film of everything, like not just one particular format or subject matter, but anything that I've made with instant film is fair game. I want to make a big, like, dense book of everything. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing where it's like, this isn't a particular project or theme or story. This is everything over, close to 2 decades of instant film. So there's that. Working with my dad in the cemeteries, all of the photos from the years working with him, as well as the following year and a half, really, that I was doing it by myself after he passed, up until I got sick and couldn't work anymore. So that's another eventual book. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that I want to make. I would like to make a book that isn't just the last 20 years of instant film, but just the last 20 years of everything. All of the photos of, for whatever reason, that I've, gravitated towards. There's like a bunch of different things that I want to make. And I think having like, I really want to build a foundation of how I want to share things, because that is always the hang up for me, is like, how do I want to do this? How, figuring out all of the like logistic stuff. I really want to build more of a stable foundation for like, I know where things are going to go. I have an outlet in multiple directions, and I can actually start doing stuff with a lot of the work that hasn't been seeing the light of day. You know what I mean? So nothing new, no new projects that I'm photographing, or for that matter, any ideas. Excuse me. For that matter. So we'll see. Do you have gas or oil heat out in Ohio with how cold it gets? We have just electric heat here personally, but some people do have gas heat. Ours is all electric. In a few years, can drop a book. Oh yeah, I read that one. Did we ever get that Discord set up? We did. That's another thing that I will make a note of real quick, because we have it set up. It just needs to be, I guess, properly tweaked and like officially ready to share with everybody so that everybody can join in. But the Discord group, shout out to David for helping me out with that. Let me double check. Yes, it was David. I had to double check the name because I just remember names. I don't see anyone's faces here. That's another thing that we need to do with Discord, is people being able to turn on their cameras and we can actually like face-to-face hang out if you want to. No pressure. But it's one of those things that like I know I need to finish getting it all set up so that we can actually use it. Yeah, I feel like sometimes after somewhat intensive periods of shooting, you just don't want to shoot anything new. I think that's where I'm at right now. The paper mill, like I said, it wasn't expected, and I'm excited to share it and everything. But yeah, there's a lot going on, especially with like just being a dad in general. I have to remind myself all of the time that I can't be used to my like the output, or yeah, more than anything, I guess, just like the work output day to day from 10 years ago when I had one child who was a baby, or it all changes, and I've had to like accept that and not beat myself up over it. Oh, what's up? The Discord community management is so much. Do you have someone helping you with that? I failed with mine. Well, shout out to David. As I mentioned, just someone here locally, not locally, locally within the group here with all of us on the stream. But that was just someone out of the kindness of their own heart. David set it up and basically handed it over and was like, here you go. I got it set up. Just with some like general ideas of like kind of a template for what it could be used for. Again, I need to just learn more about it myself personally, so that we can properly use it. But I think it'll be fun. Like, I like the idea of there being another hub, you know what I mean, where we can all get together. So we will see. I made a note though to try and get that set up for the next stream as well, so that at the very least I'll have it ready to join for people. That's on my list. I will commit to that. Hey Matt, first time actually watching live, frequent rewatcher though. I appreciate that. Just wanted to say hi. Hope you're doing well. Sending love from Maine. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoy the rewatches. I always appreciate that, because live, obviously, I'd think this is the most fun because you can chime in like this, but I appreciate everyone who rewatches the episodes. Don't think that goes unnoticed, because that's cool. I appreciate that. Also, the weight of material that you've shoot in that period that you need to edit and put in some form, etc., just puts pressure on you, without a doubt. And that's been sort of where I've been with the paper mill project, is figuring out how it's going to live once it's done, And I really didn't want to rush that. Initially, I thought, it's fine, don't overthink it, just get it done. Otherwise, it's never going to get done. But thankfully, with it being a locally relevant kind of thing and people expecting it, and also people being involved, I went and was at this sort of like brunch event thing for like a lot of local economic groups, Jobs Ohio, that kind of thing. But I was invited there to the country club in Chillicothe, a place that I don't normally frequent. But I went there a week or so ago, and one of the photos that I printed from the mill on paper from the mill, that yellow carbon paper, I made a print that was around 17 by 22, I want to say. I think it was around that big, if I remember right. But anyway, I made a print, pretty good sized print. Someone from the greater Ross County and Chillicothe, like local economic group, they had me make the print on that paper, and then Dard, who I work for at the frame shop, Dard made the frame, and we had a frame made and presented it to someone, the chairman of that group. They had it made, commissioned for her, like to present as a gift, and I got to go and present that to her, which was really cool. So there's like there's that element where people are aware of it, and so that will help me see it through and like reach the finish line. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it would be one of those things that I would probably just put off. Like right after my dad died, immediately I thought I want to make a book of all of the work that, you know, I made while I was working with him for all those years. And, you know, he passed in February of 2017. So it's been almost 9 years, and that book still hasn't come. So like anything, it's like that's something that doesn't need to happen right now, eventually when the time is right. But with the paper mill, it's like that's one that I do want to get done soon. So yeah. You can do a lot with Discord, like separate group chats for people that like different kinds of photography. That was, yeah, that's a good idea as well. And David, who set the Discord up, he had some different tabs for like discussions about books, discussions about cameras, discussions about photographers. There's a lot of different things that we could do. A place for people to share new books that they pick up or new work that they find. Yeah, that'll be fun. But that's going to do it for this stream. If you guys have any last minute questions, go ahead and shout them out now, and I will get to those before we close out. But I appreciate everybody joining me today, especially the last last minute. I was rushing to make it. I think now I was going to work on a separate video. I was going to finish editing one, but Tyler has the drive, and he was going to drop it off today, but obviously with the weather, that didn't happen. Nobody's on the roads right now, so part 2 of We'll Figure It Out, a video about self-publishing my first book, Friend of Mine, that's on the channel. You might have been wondering, where is part 2? It's one of those videos that fell through the cracks, and I didn't realize. I checked yesterday. It's been almost a year and a half since part 1 was published. It was when Surveyor like first arrived and I was shipping the book out. So almost a year and a half since part 1 was published. Part 2 is coming. I just filmed part 2, and as soon as I get the drive from Tyler that has the other footage I need, I'll be able to finish that one, and that'll be up probably here in the next 2 weeks. It'll be up, so look forward to that one. That'll be a fun one. You'll get to see my $6,000 mistake that I made on Friend of Mine. So if you don't know about that one already, be sure to watch the next episode of that, the final episode of We'll Figure It Out, that little story. So how's the Sunday stream working out? It's great. Loving it. I appreciate everybody who's joined me on the new Sunday schedule. Also watching one of the first times live, because previous schedules for me, it was 4 a.m. here in Kyiv. Well, amazing. I'm glad it's working out for you even better. Yeah, Sunday streams are working out great. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate you. Ralph, is there a perfect number of pictures for a photo book or a wedding album? Not at all. Really depends on each project, each individual book, or a wedding album. Wedding album, I don't have a set number, but like I don't know. That's a tough one. You don't want to not include certain people or the whole story, but at the same time, um, yeah, I don't know. Not a perfect number though. Go with your gut. Is that a cop out answer? uh, but it really just depends. I don't think there's a wrong or right answer to that. All right. Well, I appreciate all of you. Thank you again for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your week. Love you guys. I'll see you next time.